Hi guys, ready to receive the best Utah Jazz news? Leave your like and let's go to the news. Trade season is heating up, and the Utah Jazz are one of the teams on everyone's radar. With the Jazz playing at such a high level, Utah will be viewed differently than it was earlier in the year. Beyond that, there are a lot of rumors about Jazz. Here are some of those rumors. Kelly Olynyk and Jordan Clarkson on the trade block? Mark Stein recently posted some new rumors about the Jazz on his Substack and mentioned two names he mentioned in terms of trades, Kelly Olynyk and Jordan Clarkson. Kelly Olynyk and Jordan Clarkson on the trade block? Mark Stein went over some new rumors surrounding his Substack with the Jazz and mentioned two names he mentioned in terms of crossovers, Kelly Olynyk and Jordan Clarkson. The reality is that the Jazz, with Danny Ainge in charge as team CEO, are likely to listen to trade pitches on pretty much anyone on the roster, but Utah's unforeseen surge up the standings makes its trade deadline intentions even harder to read. It has become one of the more popular questions in league circles as the deadline draws near. How will all the recent winning impact Utah's trade deadline business? Kelly Olynyk and Jordan Clarkson are the Jazz veterans most frequently mentioned as potential trade targets before the February 8th trade deadline. This is a very interesting and very specific rumor. It also makes sense for the Jazz to take these steps as they focus on the future. Jordan Clarkson and Kelly Olynyk are playing well for the Jazz right now, but it doesn't make sense for the Jazz when they think about continuing to build for the future, which is what the front office is focused on most. Currently, Tyler Hendricks is playing well in the G League and has performed well every time he plays for the Jazz. I believe the Jazz will be happy to let him play more. Additionally, Clarkson and Olynyk took the ball away from Keontae George when they were on the court, and he spent a lot of his possession time watching Clarkson and Olynyk run the offense. This approach works so far, but will it work just as well if George and Hendricks get those minutes? Maybe better? You won't miss Hendricks' shots, and you'll actually see the defense get better. The question is, how much will you miss the playmaking from Olynyk? Personally, I am ready for the Keontae George show to begin. Giving him the reins to drive freely and run the offense will build the confidence he'll need in the years to come. More trade talks with Olynyk, interested in Clippers? Tim McMahon joins the Zach Lowe podcast to open with the Utah Jazz. They started by discussing how good the Jazz were and then started some trade discussions and ideas. You have to listen to the podcast because it's great, but I've tried my best to transcribe some of the most interesting conversation topics. From Zach Lowe. Here's the point that I've reached with them. The Mike Conley trade last year was a death blow to them and they knew it. They were not surprised that would be the case. I don't know what role player would have a similar effect on their team. Maybe it's Kelly Olynyk who's got interest with the Clippers, and Olynyk, he's expiring and has value. Can you trade him and it's not crippling to your second unit? From Tim McMahon. Danny Ainge is not going to get sentimental about a competitive team. The big picture is still at the front of their mind. Danny Ainge has had many times that he's been on the phone and not made the move. Everyone wants Kelly Olynyk. That doesn't mean they're going to pay what it costs to get Kelly Olynyk. Zach Lowe eventually goes on to give an idea of what he thinks it might take. If they get offered a good first, they have to think about it. There's been more talk about Olynyk, which makes sense since his contract is expiring, but he's playing at a high level. If the Clippers can bring something valuable to Utah, they need to consider the reasons mentioned above. Hendricks getting more playing time will be invaluable as the Jazz continue to try to win enough to send their 2024 draft pick to the Thunder before everything else goes cold. It will also be fun to see Keontae George and Walker Kessler play together, which would be really special for the Jazz's second unit. It's going to be an interesting trade season for the Jazz, and we should only see things heat up more and more as the season goes along. What did you think of today's news? Leave your opinions in the comments below and share it to continue receiving new news every day.